class. Well, good morning, everybody. Today we will start with chapter 18. Yesterday and during the previous week, we've been talking about chapter 16 and 17. So today we will start directly with chapter 18. We're talking about graphs. So hopefully your friends will join in within a couple of minutes. So let's start by sharing the screen for chapter 18. Yeah. We have this presentation that we already, during the quarantine, we went through what we need to explain again, and listen if you have any kind of questions related to this topic. Okay, yeah, here we are. Okay, so we're talking about chapter 18, gradients of graphs. This is the first lesson. What do we mean by a gradient? Yeah. Bismillah. What do we mean by a gradient of a graph? Okay, what we will learn today is to find the gradient of any line or the gradient between 2 points. If you want to start, okay, first of all, just a minute. Okay, some of the words that we need to go through, okay, first of all, we need to know what do we mean by a gradient. We need to go by the x-axis, y-axis. These are terms that you need to remember, okay? And then we need to write the coordinates of a certain point. Hala, what do we have here in front of us? This is a graph, okay? Everybody knows that we draw graphs on grid papers, okay, that are squared backgrounds, let's say. We have two axes. We have the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis. We have the vertical axis, which is the y-axis. And any point on the grid, okay, should have a coordinate pair. This coordinate pair, we always write it as x and y. So we go by horizontal and then vertical. For example, if I have a certain point like this one, okay, and I asked about the coordinate of this point, we have to go by horizontally and then we go vertically. Type teacher, what do we call this point here? The starting point. It's the origin. It's the point of it's the origin because it's the 0, 0 point. Okay. And if we want to find the coordinate, okay, from the line for this point, how can I find the coordinate? Who can help me? What is the coordinate of the first line? The first point. Yes, Selena.
It's 0, 4.
Yes, it's 0, 4. That's right. Okay. Type. Let's find another coordinate for this point, for example. More hands. It's a very simple يعني بس هيك starter, let's say. في عنا هلا رمادنا. What is the coordinate of this point?
2, 5.
Hi, 0, 5. No.
2, 5.
Yes, that's right. Okay. انتي مش منتبهة بالضبط عليها. طيب, that's great. Who can find this point? يلا, help. غير رمادنا أو سيلينا. مين كمان؟ غير رمادنا وسيلينا. في عنا 2 participants. شوف مين. في عنا سارة. يلا سارة.
4, 6.
Yes, it's 4, 6. يلا. Who wants to help with the last point? حلواني. شو رأيك يا حلواني؟ هلا.
It's 6, 7.
It's 6 and 7. Okay, so that's right. Thank you. So we have the coordinate for the last point, which is 6 and 7. We write a point. For example, if I need to write another point, that would be 8 with 8, and that's it. Okay, so these are the points on the line. We said any point on the grid, it should have a coordinate pair. Coordinate pair, it's always written as x and then y. تمام؟ هلا gradient or steepness أو ممكن تلاقوا be some of the resources called slope. Okay, إيش يعني gradient? It's the steepness of the line. Okay, so how do we find the steepness of the line or the slope of the line? Before we start, how can we find it? Okay, we have 3 different lines, shapes of lines, let's say. We have an increasing line, okay, that is going upward, which is like the first example, and that would have a positive gradient, okay? When you are going up the mountain, okay, to the top of the mountain, this is a positive gradient. And if you are going down the hill, okay, that would be a negative gradient. Negative gradient indicates a decreasing line, line. So we have two kind of lines. First of all, let's start with them. Okay, we have an increasing line. It has a positive gradient, okay, or a positive slope when you are going up the hill, or when you are going down the hill, that would be a negative gradient. Tamam? So again, what is the gradient? The gradient in definition is the slope, okay, or it's how far you are going up, okay, and you should divide that of how far did you go across, okay. So if I want to find the gradient, that would be how many units up and then how many units across, okay. And for example, we're talking about the steepness or the gradient or the slope of this hill here. In this part, it was how many units did they go up, and then how many units did they go across, and that would be up divided over the cross, and that would be 2 divided on 2, and that equals 1 in this example. Okay, so these are examples of types of gradient. As we just said, we're not finding amounts or values, we're just talking about, is it a positive or a negative gradient. Again, if we are going up the hill, it's a positive, it's an increasing line, positive gradient. If you're going down the hill, it's a decreasing line, it has a negative gradient. And if we are going for a horizontal line or a flat line, okay, that would be a 0 gradient, okay. And if we are going on a vertical line, that would be an undefined, that would be undefined. So هدول in general هم types of line. Either increasing بيكون positive, decreasing بيكون negative. If it was a horizontal line, that would be a 0, because 0 divided by any number, okay, would be a 0. And the vertical line is an undefined, is undefined because it's a number divided on a 0 amount. Okay, so اللي بيهمونا هم increasing, decreasing, and the horizontal line. The vertical line ما بيهمنا, we won't find it in this stage, okay, but you should know that this is what we call undefined value. Okay, yeah. هيهم again, increasing بده يكون positive, decreasing بده يكون negative, horizontal line would be a 0 slope, and a vertical line would be an undefined slope. هدول الأربعة teacher لازم نكون عارفينهم زي اسمنا. يعني نعرف, مش ضروري, it's not important to know the value, okay, but you should know an increasing line and a positive gradient. ما بينفع يطلع معي الجريدينت negative بقول okay وأنا شايفة إنه اللاين increasing. Or if it was decreasing, you should know that you should have a negative value. ننتبه إنه it's a negative value. It's a decreasing line. So this is a way of checking your workout. ما بينفع, for example, when we start calculating the gradient by 2 points or by for example, the equation, يطلع معي for the second case هاي يطلع معي مثلا positive gradient وأوافق. لازم أعرف إنه هذا decreasing, لازم يكون negative, معناتها there is a problem in my workout. I have to check my work again. horizontal line لازم يطلع معنا 0 slope, 0 gradient. إيش يعني 0 gradient؟ يعني ما بصير يطلع معي any value other than the 0. ما بصير يكون لا positive ولا negative. Undefined, this is a case that you will take in higher stages but not in our stage, but you should know that the vertical line has an undefined slope because it's a number divided by the 0. Any number divided by the 0 would be undefined slope. Okay? هلا, how can we find it? بالstage تبعتنا. Finding the gradient, actually through this chapter we have different ways of finding the gradient. The first way we will introduce is when we have or when we know 2 points on the line. لما بيكون عندي line, I just need 2 points. 2 points are more than enough. Any 2 points are more than enough for you to find the gradient. How can we find that? Yeah. We said that the difference between any 2 points is how many units up divided by how many units across. It's always the up divided by the how many units across. Okay, so if we just went up على الجريد اللي we have, we just went up 8 units, and how many units across? Okay, that would be 4. So we just say that this is the change in the y-axis divided by the change of the x-axis, and that means 8 divided by 4. وهذا الجريدient is 2, positive 2. وتذكروا إن it's a positive because it's an increasing line. So it's the change in y divided by the change in x. Okay, this is the rule for finding the gradient using 2 points. This is the first way of finding the gradient. تمام. هلا we have a line. This is the first example and we need to find the gradient. First thing for you to do, just label any 2 points. طب teacher لازم يكونوا consecutive points, يعني 2 points that are exactly after each other? لا. هلا what points we need to find? Any points that has exact values. يعني ما باخذ for example point هون وبجي ببلش أخمن إنه والله teacher this is 2.5 maybe 2.4 with about 5. لا. Take a point that are exactly on intersecting lines. يعني مثلا for example I will take this one. This is 8 and 8. باخد for example this one. Okay, this is 0 and 4. باخد example this one. Okay, any 2 points on the line will give you the same gradient. After all, remember the gradient is a ratio between two numbers. It's a fraction, it's a division. So the ratio will stay the same through one line. Okay, so we will just choose 2 lines. We will apply the rule on the rule and a change in y divided by change in x. فباجي بقول هاي أول point أخذ هاي point. Okay, this is how many units up. Okay, and then they took the units across. How many units up? ننتبه ضروري ننتبه لإيش؟ للسكيل they used. يعني this unit هون على الدrawing it's 1 square. Okay, بس على السكيل تبعنا how much is the jump? Here we're jumping ones, بس ممكن يكون في other example we're jumping 5s أو jumping 10s أو jumping 20s. So you have to be very careful in reading the scale على ال y-axis وعلى ال x-axis. Okay, so this is a 1 unit up divided by how many units across? Divided by 2 units. So let's go by. It's 1 unit up divided by 2 units across, and that means that we have a negative or a gradient of a half. Is it positive or negative? طبعا positive, it's an increasing line. تمام? Any question so far? Do we have any question? شباب صبايا. Yeah, let's proceed. Let's proceed. Yeah, here's another line. Yalla, let's find the gradient. And I will select the 2 points that we have. Oh, who wants to help me? Choose any 2 points. And let's start the calculations. Akram. Yalla ya Akram.
Teacher 8 and 0.
Okay.
And 0 and 2.
بس بدي أسألك, إحنا we don't have 8 and 0. We don't have an 8 and 0. 8 and 0, that means 8 على the horizontal axis, صح؟ و0 معناتها هاي البوينت. We don't have this point on the line.
Okay, we'll choose 4 and 1.
لا ايش البوينت اللي انت you chose يا اكرم؟ You chose what? A 0 8 not 8 and 0. انتبه انه الكوردينيت دائما يا اكرم it's what? It's x and y. دائما الكوردينيت of any point عشان تكتب الكوردينيت pair of any point لازم نروح x and y. قديش على الاكس يا تيتشر؟ 0.
يعني 1 4.
والsecond is 1 with 4. That's right. So we chose this point. Okay. وخلينا نشوف هو شو ماخذ أي second point. هو ماخذ 2 and 0. تمام؟ هاي 2 points. ساعدني نحل على هدول 2 points أكرم. Do you mind?
Yes.
يلا. How many up?
4.
4 divided by
1.
Divided by 1. 4 divided by 1. The gradient is
1 over 4.
لا 4 divided by 1. So the gradient is
4.
4. بس بدي أسألك سؤال يا أكرم. Is it a positive gradient ولا negative gradient?
Negative gradient.
ليش؟
Because the line is decreasing. It's going down.
Excellent. Super, Akram. Okay, so we went by, it's a negative 4. It's a negative 4 divided by 1. So our gradient is negative 4 because it's a decreasing line. كتير ضروري ننتبه حتى even لو بالcalculations تبعونا ما قلنا مثلا negative 4. هو قال لي 4 up وبعدين divided by 1. بس بعدين انتبه إنه this is a decreasing line. So it should be what? It should be a negative gradient. Thank you very much, Akram. Excellent, يا teacher. تمام. يلا. Let's go for further examples. Your turn. Gradient. مين بده يبلش معانا؟ هاي first one, ها? أنا I chose 2 points. يلا participants عنا raising hands مين؟ عنا سيلينا محمد وكمان لسه أكرم. كمان بدي حدا تاني وهم هدول اللي عم بيشاركوا كل مرة باي ذا واي. هلا رمادنا، سيلينا، سارة الأسمر، أكرم خضري، هم هدول الجماعة اللي عم بيشاركوا باي ذا واي. البقايا ما دخلنا. يعني كمان هلا حلواني بتشارك أحيانا، بس هم هدول. ها خلص أوكي، يلا سيلينا. يلا سيلينا.
So it is 3 up and 1 across. So it's going to be 3 divided by 1, and it's 3. Positive 3.
And it's positive 3. That's
3.
Thank you, Selena. Excellent, huh? The gradient is 3 over 1, and that would be 3. يلا second. second مين؟ عنا من أنتم؟ برضو هلا رمضان. هاي participations. خلينا نشوف more. نختار بس حدا تاني once إنه إحنا شجعناهم. إنهم في عنا هدى، في عنا فرح. يلا يا فرح. يلا.
Okay.
Hi.
So that's the second one. I'll choose the 0, 4 and
0, 4.
yeah, yes, and 0, 2. So it's -2 divided by 2, which is
استني فروحة يا قلبي wait. احنا we always go by up divided by the cross. صح؟
yeah,
So how many units up?
4,
Divided by how many units across?
2,
2. So 4 divided by 2. The gradient is
2.
2. And is it positive or negative يا فروحة?
Negative.
It's
Negative.
negative. That is right. Excellent يا فرح. Thank you very much. Yep. More. هذا this is a question from the book. We are finding the gradient of the two lines B و A. مين يساعدني ب A؟ وهم حاطين لنا اياهم by the way. يلا. أنا كأني شفت نبيه قبل شوي. نبيه شو رأيك؟ يلا يا نبيه.
يلا مس.
يلا.
تسلعني.
حبيت إنك أنت بتغير لي الصور كل شوي. هذا مين؟ إيش هاي الشخصية؟
مس انمي.
ماشي يلا يا نبيه.
مس اوكي بلاين ايه الاكس
قبل الإكس إحنا دائما we go by across and then so we go by
Across
up and then
then
across.
up.
up وبعدين across. يلا.
تيتشر ايش الاكس الواي نيجاتيف 2.
أنت وين بتحل؟ ببارت A صح؟
بارت ايه، بس بدي اخذ 2 بوينتس هدول.
اوكي هلا احنا ما بدنا 2 points. هو شايفهم انه already they took them و already they drew the dotted line for you, so just take how many units up and how many units across.
ان شاء الله. نيجاتيف 2 ل 4. تيتشر 6 up and 2 across.
Yes, it's 6 up and 2 across, and that would be
6 divided by 2 equals 3.
positive.
So the gradient of line A is 3.
Yes,
Positive
it's
3 because the line is
positive.
increasing.
يا برافو يا نبيه. Excellent. يلا part B. يلا نشوف participants. احنا صرنا على فكرة 25. That's great. 25 وبس منهم 3-4 اللي بيشاركوا. بس برضه ماشي. That's great. يعني بس عشان to keep up هذا. كأني شفت قبل شوي هدى بعدين بطلت. كنت بدي أقول هدى الحاج. إذا تحبي تجاوبي.
Okay.
يلا يا قمر.
Um,
part B. How many up and how many across?
the up is 1 and 4 across.
Excellent. So we have.
So it's 1 over 4, 0.25.
Okay, so it's a quarter or 0.25 and it's positive because it's an increasing line. That's great. يلا هون تعالوا نشوف هذا الكويستشن. Calculate the gradient of line A, B and C. سهلين برضو. على السريع. يلا سيلينا. يلا سيلي. سيلينا.
so yeah.
يلا يا أمي.
So it's one across and 4 up.
So it's up over across.
Yeah, so it's 1 over 4.
لا, it's up over across.
So it's 4 over 1, negative
Yes.
4 over 1. Which is negative 4.
It's negative 4 over 1, which is negative 4 because it's a decreasing line. Thank you يا سيلينا. Excellent. يلا more hands. نشوف مين. مثلا أنا عن جد جاء على بالي هي راما مثلا. يلا يا راما.
Okay, so it is 3 up and 3 across, so it equals to 1.
Yes. Is it 3 up ولا أنا شايفاهم 3 down والله؟
No, it's -1.
It's -1 because it's 3 down. That is right. And then over 3 and the answer is 1. That's excellent, right? كأني شفت سارة كمان. Sarah? أسمار؟
Yes.
صورة يلا يا teacher. Okay, for part C teacher.
So 2 up and 1, 2, 3, 4 across. So 2 divided on 4 and this equals 2.
بس أنا مش شايفاهم up أنا شايفاهم down.
So -2.
-2 divided by 4 and that would be negative إيش قلتي لي؟
-2.
-2 divided by 4 بيطلع -2.
No, -1 over 2.
Negative half, that is right. Yes, that's right. صبايا ما ننسى الكوردينيت وبليز ما نلخبط. Excellent يا سارة. Thank you very much. Don't forget two important points. When we are talking about a coordinate, it's always the x and then the y. But when we are talking about the gradient, it's always change in the y divided by the change in the x. يعني it's always y over x, up over the across. It's always up over the across. ما ننسى لأنه that will flip the value. Okay. طيب. Here we are. How can we find the gradient of a straight line if you don't have a graph? ما عندي graph وما بقدر أطلع إيش ما بعرف إيش هم قديش up أعدهم وقديش across وأعدهم. Okay, I don't have that, but I have points on the line. عندي 2 points on the line. How can I find that? عندي x عندي first point A second point which is B. احنا we said it's the change in the y divided in the change of the x. The word change means that we are finding we are finding difference. We are finding difference. So to find the gradient on the line without having a drawing or a graph, what can we do? It's the change in the y divided by the change in the x. فشو باجي بعمل؟ باجي بقول y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So I will just find the change in the y. بس ننتبه شغلة كتير مهمة يا شباب وصبايا. When we are starting with y2, okay, minus y1, بكمل تحت كمان x2 minus x1. طيب teacher, can I do the opposite? Can I just go by y1 minus y2 or x1 minus x2? But if you started with a point, just end with it. يعني بلشنا y2 minus y1 بعمل اللي تحتها x2 minus x1. نفس الشيء بده يكون. Okay? ما بعمل flip، ما بشقلب مرة y2 minus y1 وبعدين مرة x1. ما بشقلب هاي الطريقة. Is that okay? طيب. So هلا we have 2 points. هو in general on a line رح يعطيكي مثلا for example 3 points and he wants you to find the gradient. فأنا I will take any 2 points. The difference between any 2 points will give you the same gradient. So let's explain the first one. Choose any 2 points. Okay, مثلا احنا أخذنا أول 2 points. ببلش مين أول؟ اتفقنا. Change in y و change in x. هاي ال y وهاي ال x. هذا x2 هذا y2. direct application on the rule. y2 minus y1 و x2 minus x1. y2 وينها؟ 2 minus -4. y2 minus -4. بعدين x2 6 minus the 3. Please handle the signs carefully. Handle the signs carefully لأنه that will affect if your gradient was positive or negative. Okay, so 2 minus 4 شو صارت؟ 2 plus 4 and that would be 6. 6 minus the 3, the answer is 3 and your gradient is 2 and that would be an increasing line. Clear? ناخد كمان example. يلا. We have another 2 points. تمام؟ Choose any 2 points بدك إياهم. any تنتين. احنا شو أخذنا هاي الأول مرة أخذنا first 2 تاني مرة احنا ناخد another 2 points. Or even if I chose any other points, يعني لو أخذت first point و last point, you will have the same gradient. Okay? So direct application on the rule. هذه x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? على الرule, change in y divided by change in x. 0 minus 3. بعدين عندي negative 3 minus 6. Okay, handle the signs carefully and your gradient is 1. Clear? Is that clear? Any question? في حدا مش عارف احنا شو عم نعمل على gradient? And you will get the same gradient even if you chose any other 2 points. تمام؟ Okay, yeah. Any question so far? في حدا مش عارف احنا ايش عملنا اليوم؟ بالgradient, بالgraphs. I will stop the share. Here we are. Is there any questions? Anything to ask about? Okay. هلا, we did so far the first lesson from chapter 18. Okay. Who has the booklet, please go through the exercises for this lesson with the first lesson in chapter 18. Try to go through it and the answer key is provided. I would love and just to thank your participations. Most of you participated and I really loved your participation, and I wish everybody next time will participate. Thank you very much. This class is ended today, and see you inshallah Sunday. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, boys and girls. You may leave.